I don't want to like duct tape together a business. I want to stand like on 2 feet with my chest out, being like, this is made here.
Welcome to Duo on Air, where we help you get seen, remembered, and wildly obsessed over by your audience. We're your hosts, Abby
and Courtney, a pair of ex-agency besties who ditched the cubicles, the Minneapolis skyways, and the corporate jargon for work that matters, with people who inspire us every day. Today, we're a women-powered marketing agency serving brands worldwide, bringing those big agency results without the corporate price tag.
Around here, it's all about what actually grows your business: branding, SEO, websites, and navigating the real-life ups and downs of building a dream while raising tiny humans. We're moms, wives, and best friend business partners in the trenches with you, making the hard stuff feel easy and a whole lot more fun.
So pour a fresh cup, get comfy, because you're exactly where you need to be.
Let's duo this.
Welcome back to the Duo on Air podcast. This is episode number 224, and today it's just me, Court, and a guest that I've been so excited to sit down and chat with. If you've ever left a networking event more drained than when you walked in, all buttoned up with a stack of biz cards, wondering if anyone in the room even saw you, then this episode is for you. My guest built the opposite of that. Theresa is the founder of Made Here, a community for small-town Wisconsin women in business. She's built a room where there are no name tags, nobody's checking your follower count at the door, and you leave making connections so authentic, you're texting the women you just met asking if they're going to be at the very next event. Here's my slightly unfair advantage. I got to build Made Here's brand, so I've watched this thing come to life from the inside, and I've been so excited to tell the whole story with the woman who dreamed it up. We get into why so much of networking leaves women cold, how you build real belonging on purpose, whether or not that's a Made Here in your town, and that your zip code doesn't get to decide the size of your dreams. So whether you're listening from a tiny town or a big city, we think that you'll find value in some of the conversation that we'll be having today. So let's get into it. Hello, Theresa, and thank you so much for joining us on the Duo on Air podcast. We were so thrilled when you said you'd come on as a guest because I think what you've built and what you have to offer and just your story is going to be super inspiring for our audience. So we just want to hear a little bit more about it. So why don't you tell our audience who you are and give them a little bit of background information about you?
Well, hello. Thanks for having me. Um, I am Theresa. I live in a small town in Wisconsin. I was born and raised here. I was one of those typical people who was like, when I graduate, I'm going to college and I'm never coming back. Like, I'm going to the city. I'm going to be a city girl. And I'm back, which I'm sure a lot of listeners can probably relate to. Married my husband. He and his family he's a fifth generation potato farmer. So he came back to work his family's business, and I followed. We started a family. I have 2 kids. My son is 12, my daughter's 10. And yeah, we love the little life we've built in Antigo, and never thought I would say that. So, um, stumbled into entrepreneurship. I actually came back and kind of started in entry level jobs because there's just not a ton here. And I felt that like lost feeling of, is this it? Like I vividly remember sitting, looking around like at a job I was in and just thinking like, what management position would I want here? Is there anything I like see myself in when I'm, 40, 50 years old? I just wasn't excited about anything. And I felt like something was wrong with me. I was like, am I just like unhappy? Like, am I unable to like, I don't know. It was a weird time. So I had gotten approached to join Beachbody in 2015. And I was like, okay, like I'll do a workout program and drink this shake, like whatever. And I started sharing my journey on Instagram just to keep myself accountable. And that just kind of took off unintentionally. People would ask what workout I was doing, and I would enroll them and add them to this group I had created. And then I got a check in the mail, and I was like, wow, oh, didn't even know I could get paid. This is great. This is fun. And it kind of just like scratched that itch of I could do this and my job and like have a little extra cushion. So I actually quit my job a year into network marketing and stayed home with my kids for 10 years doing that, traveled all over the place. And then I just decided it wasn't for me anymore. I kind of feel like I outgrew the space and maybe even the company a little bit as they were transitioning. And then after that, I was kind of like left with that feeling again of like, now what? What do I do? Like, I built this massive organization, had an amazing team, so many friends. And one day I was just like, I feel like I'm starting completely over. And so I did what I did in network marketing and I taught people about social media and personal branding. And I just kind of started there and then figured out what I liked, what I didn't like. And that kind of led me to where I am today.
That's an incredible story. I think all of us have kind of been there, right? We start, especially as entrepreneurs, we like start something or we're looking something and it kind of starts off and it's going, but then you feel like this identity crisis kind of, and you're like, I don't know, like, is this where I should be? What should I be doing? And from even a small town perspective, I can kind of relate because I come from a small town, Volga, South Dakota, if anybody's ever heard of it. And I had that same thing, that same feeling that you had. Like, I was just like, I'm going to get out of here. There's nothing here for me. But now I'm in Stillwater, Minnesota, which is also like a small town too. And I love it here. Like, I don't want to leave here. I want to be here. I want to grow my community here. So it's just such an inspiring story. And I think it's also something that so many of us can relate to. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about Made Here and what it was that made you want to start a community like this? What was going on in your life when you realized that the room that you've now built didn't exist?
Yeah. So when I got into like business mentorship, I I love investing in myself, like in whether it's courses to learn more about a skill or I had like my own mentors in business just that were like, one step ahead of me and I could learn from them. So I was actually in a ads, like a Facebook ads group, and there was a retreat, and we flew out to Scottsdale, Arizona. And it had been a while since I'd been like, quote unquote, in the room with other female entrepreneurs. And I left that weekend and I was sitting on the plane and I was just like, this is what's been missing. Like, I miss the community aspect of what I had with network marketing. And then I think I felt so lonely in entrepreneurship after that and feeling like, you just tell yourself all these stories of like, why am I even doing this? Is this worth it? Will this ever like turn into anything? Who do I think I am? Like things like that. And when you're in a room with other women who are like hyping you up and encouraging you and saying like, I was you at one point. Like you need to believe in yourself. What you have is so many, you just feel like you can set the world on fire. And it's that room I wanted to come home and create for women who live in small towns, who live in Wisconsin, who, out of maybe like their friends and family are the only entrepreneur and no they feel like nobody understands them. And I was just thinking about community, community, community. And I really decided to niche down and lean into the Wisconsin thing so that I could create an actual room, not just a virtual room, and, eventually bring us all together. Um, like a networking group, essentially, where women will mention your name in rooms you're not in for opportunities you don't know about yet. And we had our first event on Sunday, and it was a content day for social media. And when I tell you that room was filled with women who just felt like they'd been longtime friends, and I only knew one of them going into that day, I hadn't like it just like clicked like we have something special here.
Hmm. That's incredible. Yeah. When you and I first talked, when you inquired with us, I was so excited about the community that you said, like you were just starting on this journey, right, of making Made Here a thing. And I was so excited about it and so inspired by it because this isn't something that you hear about often, right? You do hear about a lot of these like larger communities, or you have to fly out to Arizona. Abby and I have been to Arizona probably a dozen times now with like work events, right? So it's one of those things where you feel like you always have to hop on a plane and go somewhere bigger, right? Or you have to go to an event where there's hundreds of people and you're going to put on a name tag and you got to print your business cards and bring those along. And it's like the whole kind of show. And, and I'm an extrovert and Abby's a little bit more introverted. So sometimes those things, she's just like, oh man, we have to do this thing. And I'm like, it's going to be okay. But that's what I love so much about what you've built with Made Here is that it's got that small town rural feel to it, right? Which I feel like a lot of small towns kind of miss those opportunities, or it's just not a community that's already built there. So when let's talk about like how Made Here is different than these larger communities that you see out there. A lot of women hear networking event, and like I said, they picture the name tags, they picture a stiff room, they picture a stack of business cards. They get nervous. They don't really want to be there, but they know they have to. When someone walks into a Made Here event, what's different from the moment that she opens the door versus these other larger events that she's been to in the past?
I feel like one of my mentors always said this, and she's like, human first, always. And that is just something that stuck with me because I think we are all so much more alike than we realize. And that's something that through conversations with women in business has just really stood out to me. Like, we all kind of go through the same emotions and like walking into a networking event, especially when you don't know anybody, like you have that like fluttery feeling of like, am I gonna fit in? Are they gonna like me? Are they gonna be the same as they are online? Like, all of these thoughts are valid, and, I, like, truly want to create a space, and I feel like we did that in our first event of, like, when they walk in, like, everyone's hugging, and there's a charcuterie board, and I had rosé, and I really made sure prior to the event to just reiterate the fact, like, show up as you are. Do not go buy a bunch of clothes for this photo shoot. Like, just show up as you are in the most comfortable version of yourself. And like, you belong here. You have a seat at this table. Um, I just really want everybody to know that they belong. And I just don't I think that creates a space where people really feel open to sharing things too, which is nice because if you can come into a space and, like, let your guard down and really just, like, be yourself and not feel like you have to perform or show up a certain way or, like, flip a light switch and be this type of person when you walk through the door, it allows you to move through things quicker, you know, and just have more potent conversations.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, I think the honesty and how real you've been with your conversations with your audience, even just on Instagram, I'm sure even in your event, where you have said things like literally like, "Don't go buy new clothes for this." Like, that's not the point. Like, go to your closet and grab what you have and come as yourself. You don't have to like come with a script or come feeling uneasy or like you have to pitch something to somebody. I think that's where a lot of these events and communities kind of miss the mark, right? Because it does feel very um, kind of like quote unquote networky in a way that you have to come there, you have to make connections, you have to, hopefully, maybe somebody's going to turn into a client or a partner or something like that. Whereas Made Here feels very much like you're getting together for wine night with your girlfriends down the street. Like it's
Yeah.
very no pressure, I would say. And I talked to you before we jumped on here that I've talked to a few people in your community already, and that's what they've said. One of the ladies even said she was like, "The event was so great. I showed up. I felt no pressure. It was the perfect amount of people, like because sometimes those can get really overwhelming, right? Because they can grow really big. But you've made this room feel smaller, more intentional, more like you're getting together with friends. Which, like, who doesn't like to get together with their friends and get coffee or have wine or whatever it is. So it feels so attainable and so reachable. And like the barrier to, join this community is just, it's not even there, right? Because it just feels so friendly and inviting. So I think that's what makes Made Here so different. And, building a community like that just feels really intentional. And I don't know. I wish you were a little closer to Stillwater, is all I'm saying.
I as you were talking, it made me think. I remember in the early days of network marketing getting invited to a leadership retreat within my network marketing company, and I, like, got a spray tan, I got my nails done, I got a whole new wardrobe, I probably got my eyelashes done. I mean, the amount of pressure I had on me, myself, to just show up, this certain version of me to be accepted and, like, feel like I belonged there. I remember, like, getting on planes to go to these and just be like, "I have no money." And here I am, like, buying all this stuff, trying to impress people that I don't even know.
Mhm.
And I feel like through, just, like, growth and, like, aging, you just realize, like, I'm not here to impress people.
Right, right. I definitely think that's a part of it too. Yeah. Like just as you age, you're kind of just like, I've tried to do that in the past and I realize that like actually just being myself is who I want to be and where I want to be. And that's how I want people to accept me. And I think that's a big part of the community that you're growing. And it's a big part of small towns, right? Because we are so close and we all have a lot of the same dreams and aspirations and we're building families alongside businesses, and that's hard. It's not just getting together and talking about the easy, it's getting together and talking about the hard, which is things that you've also talked about too. Like, this isn't always just, rainbows and unicorns. Some days it's, it's really tough.
Yeah.
And that's where we need to find these communities where we can actually like feel like we are able to talk about things like that.
Yeah.
So was there a moment that you felt like you've talked about you felt like in the past you had to be somewhere bigger or you had to leave home in order to be taken seriously. Where was it that kind of changed for you? So like you left your small town, you came back, and when did it kind of click like, hey, I don't have to be in these bigger rooms to have a bigger business, quote unquote. Where, like, what happened? What was the mindset? Or was there a specific event or something where you were just like, no, like, I can build a community like this in a small town. It doesn't need to be massive. People don't need to get on airplanes. They can just step outside of their house and it's right there for them.
Yeah. When I was thinking about the community, I knew I had to have a virtual component because, like, I quickly realized I can't be in Stillwater and Wausau and Madison and Milwaukee, and, like, I'm one person with
Hmm.
kids that are crazy busy, and, um, I wanted something virtual first, and then to be able to eventually, like, you know, do in-person events, and, um, with the first event, I was like, "I'm going to just, like, rip the Band-Aid off, and we're gonna do this," and, um am I echoing for you?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay. Um, rip the Band-Aid off and just do this and not put pressure on myself to have everything perfect and over the top and elaborate, and because I truly believe it's less about those things and it's more about the connections and the relationships you have within the community.
Hmm.
And so I just realized, like, that's what I wanted to create. I didn't need to, I don't know, like, go book a mansion somewhere else and, like, fly people to this place, which I would love to do that someday. Like, if the Made Here girls wanna go on a vacation in the dead of winter and get out of this state, I would not be opposed. But I needed to just, like, write that permission slip of, like, show up here now as you are with what you have and allow it to flourish and grow as the community comes in, and I am building this for them, not for myself. And so I'm truly taking, like, every conversation to heart and trying to curate the perfect space for us.
Hmm. Okay, you said 2 things there that I wanna touch on because I think they were both super, super powerful. One, you said, "I need to start it here and let it flourish here." I think a lot of people, when we're chasing our dreams or when we think of something new and exciting that we wanna launch or do, we feel like we have to go all in, right? Like, we're like, "Oh my gosh, I wanna do this thing. I'm gonna go" excuse my language, but "I'm gonna go balls to the wall. Like, I have to hit the ground running. I have to do all of these things, and I have to make it as big as possible right away." And I think that I think what you just said is, like you said, like a permission slip for people to, start the thing or do the thing, or, like join the community, but you don't have to go all in right away, right? Like start it. You have a great idea, you have something started, and like let it kind of grow organically, see where it goes from there. You could have been like, okay, made here is for all of Wisconsin, right? And like did exactly what you said, like jump on a plane, go here, go to Stillwater, kind of eke into Minnesota if we want to. But you were like, you were very intentional with it and you knew I need to start in my own hometown. This is where this baby has to grow. And then maybe from there, other opportunities will come. So I think that is a super important thing that you just said that I wanted to note. And then, um, oh my gosh, what else did you say? I spoke too long on that. I think just like giving yourself the permission, right? Like you want to start something or you want to do something, just allowing yourself the permission to actually do that. Don't let social media tell you that you can't do it or don't, feel like you have to follow these trends or, I think social media it's such a beautiful thing, but it's such a hard thing too, right? You're constantly saying things like, do this to make, X of thousands of dollars a week and blah, blah, blah. Or like you have to do the next trend or you have to jump on this. And I think the community that you're building feels so different from that. Like you're almost bringing Instagram back to like the fun Instagram days, right? Just being authentic and supporting people and cheerleading people on. And like, it's not this like pushy, like you have to join this community in order to build your business to six figures. And
Right.
I think it's just so refreshing in today's day and age.
Thank you for saying that because I definitely have like fallen victim to that kind of like bro marketing of like,
Mhm.
let me impress you with the numbers and if you join me, you'll do the same thing. Like I feel like we all go through phases, right? Because we're constantly consuming. And then one day, like you wake up and you're like, this isn't even what I want. And like, this isn't the way that I talk. And I don't want to try to impress people with dollars or things. Like, I'm tired. I just want to be a mom first. I
Mhm.
want to have a business that I love that doesn't feel hard to show up for.
Yeah.
And I want to share it in a way that is me. And I don't feel like I'm again, like the light switch analogy, like flipping a light switch on and off every time I do an Instagram story or do a reel. And the way that I kind of like teased this to my audience just to see like, is this something people would be interested in? Or is this like something I just like, another one of my crazy ideas? And I just put it out there in like a talking head form. So just me talking to my camera and I was just like, hey, I have this crazy idea. I'm thinking about doing this. This is what I'm kind of picturing. Would any of the Wisconsin ladies be interested? And it blew up. And I was like, holy shit. Like, okay, this is exciting. Like, other people think this would be fun too. And I literally didn't give it a second thought. And I was like, okay, I'm not asking any more people if they think this is a good idea. Like, I think it's a good idea, and these people on this reel told me that they think it's a good idea. Like, we're going with it. And I literally just shared from ideation to, oh my gosh, I just met. With Duo Collective about branding. I'm super excited. Like, this is what I'm thinking. What vibe do you guys see for this? And I really tried to like bring them in from day one so that they knew like, hey, my opinion matters here. She's listening to me. She's creating this for us. And it just made it so much more fun because I wasn't guessing like, oh, if I do this, will they like it? No, it was like, hey, I have this idea. Do you think it's a good idea? Like, do you think so too? And then I took action. So it's been really fun to just show up and like put it all out there and see how it's received and then make moves from there, and yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever just like I mean, it's all moved so fast, I feel
Mhm.
like you literally like kind of built this overnight, which kudos to you. But do you ever kind of sit down at night and like have a glass of wine or just, you're just relaxing and taking it all in? Do you ever just sit there and like pinch yourself and be like, "Wow, I did this and I did it fast and people really wanted this."
Yeah. I feel like that's my personality of like once I make my mind up, I'm like all in type of person.
Mhm.
And sometimes that served me well and other times like I'm like, "Oh, shoot, that wasn't probably the path I should have taken," you know? And so reflecting on just a few months ago, this being an idea, and now there's 51 members in there today, like, just a couple months later is crazy. And of course, like, with entrepreneurship, like, it seems like, oh, it's overnight, but I'm like, I've been on social media consistently for since 2015, building the trust of my audience and pivoting a bunch of times. And, um, there are a handful of people that I know personally in that have been with me since day one, which is really cool because, like, shout out Melissa, she's in there. She's been with me since my Beachbody days. And it's just so cool because I've also been a part of every step of her business too. Like, she was in Beachbody and now she has a permanent jewelry store. Um, and she's doing awesome things. And it's just been cool to like allow these relationships to grow. And then like now seeing them inside of this community is just really special.
Yeah, it's kind of like a full circle event. I love too that you said well, you said 2 things there again too. You just keep dropping all these awesome things that I just gotta build on. The one thing, you've been building an audience for years. So, although it does feel like Made Here kind of was, made overnight, it really wasn't, right? Because 'Cause you've been building a community for years, on social, within your own space, all of those things. So I think that's like a huge testament too. And just like telling our audience that like you have been, you've been out there for years, right? And then the other thing that you said is that you had this idea. You just had this idea about this building this community. And so you just started talking to your audience about it, talking head style, whatever, in reels, and just to get feelers out there. And I think a lot of us kind of miss that step, right? We get this idea, we talk to our close people, our friends, our family, whatever, business partners, and we're like, okay, let's launch it. But I think it's so important to talk to your audience first because they're going to give you insight that you might have not ever thought of, or they're going to ask you questions, or they're going to say things. And I think that helps you build a much stronger brand and community than just, you can start it right without talking to your audience, but your audience is so important. It's so important. So I love the fact that you were like, I threw it out there. I just wanted to talk to them about it. And then that's when you were like, people want this. So I'm going to build it.
Mhm. Yeah. I always think of this like when people, because I've mentored people in business. And so they have an idea for, let's say, an offer and, talk about it maybe once on social media. Like, we're thinking about these things 24/7. Like, the thought never leaves our head. But sometimes we think we share it a lot on social media, but like really we're not. And then one day you're like, whip open the curtain and you're like, surprise, like now I have this offer. Everybody come buy it.
Mhm.
And I think that the reason we all like love reality TV and we love TikTok and Instagram is because we really get like a behind the scenes look into people's everyday life and, the things that they're doing. And I really just took that seriously. And I was like, I'm building this in front of everybody.
Mhm.
And I want them to see, this every step of the way. To like not only build the hype around like, okay, you can now join. It's actually like a real life thing now,
Mhm.
but also to show like humanize the brand and the community and um you know I don't know, I feel like it's just you feel more connected to something when you feel like you're a part of the decision making and like a part of the process. And I feel like if there's business owners on here who are like, in their early stages and you're nervous to just like be oversharing, don't be, because people love that. And there's so many people who would love to cheer you on from day one. Like, even if they don't necessarily buy from you or join you or whatever the case may be, um, it's really cool to see somebody build something from scratch. And I don't know. That's kind of the mentality I took when I was doing this.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's something that I've appreciated so much, and when we first met, I was like, "Yes, like, this is gonna be so much fun," because I could just tell that that's the direction that you were gonna take it just by, following you and listening to you and learning more about you, and you've said a couple of times on this podcast, "human first," right? And I think especially in today's day and age with AI, and just the growing of AI, human first is going to be something that people crave more and more because people are getting sick of AI, people can see right through it. And I think, too, we can shift to this in a second, but that's like even with branding, right? You want that human touch to it. Sure, ChatGPT can make a logo and sure, it can, make an image for you that looks like aesthetically on brand or something, but you don't have that human touch. And I think that's so important when it comes to our businesses that we're growing nowadays in the world of AI and on Instagram, because if everything looks so polished and so perfect and you're not showing your face and you're not talking to your audience, they don't have anything to connect to. Right,
Mhm.
and I think it's our voices and, how we're building things, how we fail at things, like, even just talking about our failures, I feel like, the world of AI and Instagram, there's just this level of, like, perfection that I think we're all trying to hit, and I'm a victim of it because I'm such a perfectionist as a
Mhm.
designer that I'm like, everything has to be perfect, like, I can't screw up because then people are gonna see it, but that's what they wanna see. They wanna see the messy parts, they wanna see the hard parts, they wanna see how you're doing it behind the scenes, which I think has been, you've been doing such a great job of that with building this community and building the brand.
Thank you.
Okay, so that brings me to a little bit of the branding part of it. So, when you first reached out, you had said two things. One of the things you said is that you are a sucker for promoting something that you feel good about, and when your brand is strong right out of the gate, like it's game over, right? But then you also said that you're a lover of Canva, which I've seen your Instagram posts, and you're pretty dang good. Like, your
Thank
posts
you.
are so cute. But you were just like, "I cannot build this logo and this brand in Canva." You could, right? You knew you could, but you were
Mhm.
just like, "I need to give this brand the love that it truly deserves," and you're like, "I am not the one to do this. I need to bring in some sort of an expert to help me out with this." So, what first made you trust that instinct? Because there's a lot of people out there that would tell you the opposite, right? They'd be like, you want to start a business, just like get yourself a logo and get it out there. Like, I mean, like I said, we talked about this. Made Here was grown pretty fast. Like, you've had your audience, right, for years, but like the actual brand itself, like we did this in a matter of a couple of months. Um, so a lot of people would say though, like, oh, just go like whip up a logo in AI and just like get it out there and get started, or like go build yourself something in Canva and just like get it going. What made you trust that, like, or what was it that you were like, "No, I have to do it this way," instead of just, like, quickly getting something out there?
I just think throughout the years of, I like co-owned a business with a business partner that was like a digital marketing business as well. And, um, like, I love Canva. I love it. I think it's amazing. It's such a great tool, but you can still have a lot of inconsistencies using Canva. And I knew like it's more than a logo, it's a feeling. And I think once I talked to you and it was like, no, we're not just going to do your colors and the logo and the little icon sketches and things like that, but we're going to talk about your vision
Mhm,
and your mission, and we're really going to zoom out on this brand as a whole and like how you want people to feel when they find you, how you want them to feel when they come to events or whatever. And I was like, this is what I want. I don't want to like duct tape together a business. I want to stand like on 2 feet with my chest out being like, this is made here, and I'm not ashamed of it, and it looks freaking good. And I'm proud to, you know, be behind it. And
mhm.
I I think just through various different pivots throughout my, journey in entrepreneurship, I've done the Canva thing before. And
Mhm,
it's
yes.
fine. And I would not ever let like branding hold you back from launching your business by any means. I don't want somebody new to like hear this and be like, I need to get branding done immediately. But I
Mhm.
do think like it really just it's like the bow on top of the idea and it just like makes everything feel so much more, I don't know, just like complete. And but yeah, for me it was really the whole like zooming out as a whole and like getting your mission statement straight. How many of you guys like have the elevator pitch where it's like, tell me what you do in 2 minutes or less, and you're like, ugh, like you choke because
Yes,
you're like,
absolutely.
what do I do? I don't even know who I am. Like I
Mhm.
just blacked out because that makes me want to choke, you know. And I've been like in even in the business mentorship space, I'm like, well, I do this and I do this and I can do this, but I can also do this. And like that was always kind of like a gray area for me because I'm multi-passionate. And so I knew at this brand, I didn't want that to be in question at all. I wanted to be very confident of like, this is what we do, this is who it's for, this is what we stand for. And you guys helped me do that right out of the gate. And I was like, yeah, this feels good. Let's do let's go, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, and you said the word that, I was gonna bring up, confident. I think that's
Hmm.
where a lot of people are just like, you can build a logo and you can do stuff in Canva, and Canva is a great tool. We love Canva. We are in Canva every single day, so don't think
Yeah.
that I'm like
Anti
everybody.
Canva.
Yeah, Canva's great, for certain things, obviously, but I think it's that confidence. It's the confidence and it's the clarity that, you get when you do work on those things like the brand strategy, the mission, the vision, the voice, all of those, because you're right. Back in the day, like when we first started Duo Collective or even prior, people would be like, "Yeah, what's your elevator pitch?" And that I hated that question so much. I'm like,
It's the
"Oh," like
worst.
it does make you want to throw up because you're like, well, and then you kind of just word vomit and you're like, "Well, now I sound stupid. Like I
Mhm.
don't know what I'm doing." So I think it's the biggest thing that we always talk about too is it's just the confidence that you get and the clarity that you get when you really, really sit down and work through the brand strategy of what it is that you're building and what you're doing. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so what has been the hardest part of starting this community? I'm very curious.
I think this is so dumb, but I
Not
think
the show.
it's just not getting in my head about, um not getting in my head about it being good enough.
Mhm, mhm. I think we
Like
I think as entrepreneurs, we always have that, right? It's just like we're that comparison game or, we see somebody out there building maybe something similar or like somebody that we're chasing or that we wanna be, and, it's that imposter syndrome, right? Like,
right,
I feel like as entrepreneurs, we're always gonna carry a level of that, but I
right.
can absolutely see that being, like, the one thing of starting this where you're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know. Am I good enough?"
Right, like, is the value there, you know? And I wanted to keep the price point low intentionally because I want it to be accessible to everybody. And, it's $44 a month right now, and you can either join monthly or annually. And you save 1 month if you join annually, and, there's at least 2 workshops a month, so we have experts come in or made here members who, speak on topics that they're passionate about or that they do, like, for their work, and, we have mug club every Monday morning, and that's one thing that I've thought about a lot is, like, how much is too much? Too much coming at them where they feel like, "Oh, I'm not taking advantage of this. Like, I should just cancel because I can't get on all these calls." But how much is too little to where the value doesn't feel like it's worth staying? So those are just like the things in my head of like, I wanna make sure that this is a space where people feel like it's worth staying.
Uh-huh.
And 2, um making sure that the value of the content that we're, putting in there is high level and like valuable to the members to where they feel like they're getting something out of it. And I feel like every workshop we've had so far, it's always something very tangible. So we've had like a hiring expert come in and talk about like, are you ready to hire your first employee? What does that look like? What would she had a whole exercise of like how you figure out if you're ready to hire, what you should be tracking prior to having that conversation, seeing all of the tasks that you are doing on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis that you could hand off to somebody else. What that looks like, how you set people up for success when they do join your team. So it's really valuable to, online service based providers, but also like brick and mortar businesses. And that's another thing I wanted to really make sure I wasn't just speaking to women who have online businesses, but women who, have brick and are service-based businesses as well.
Yep. Yep. I love that. Yeah, I think yeah, there's a lot of hard things about like starting a thing, right? But I do think the always questioning like am I good enough? Am I providing enough value? Is this too overwhelming? And those are things yeah that I think, we'll always battle with, but I think with the audience that you're building and just the authenticity that you have and the realness that comes with your brand and this community, hopefully, as you continue to build it, those will just be easy conversations that you can have with these women within that space because it is so real, right? It's not this like we're chasing, you know, unrealistic goals or like unrealistic, whatever paychecks, whatever it might be. I think you're finding women kind of where they are and giving them the things that they need in a small community where they've been craving this, right? Where they just don't in the past, they haven't been able to reach this because these communities are so big, or like we've said, you have to hop on a plane. And not everybody can do that, right? Especially as
Right.
business owners and moms, there's a juggle between both, right? Like we want to be the best moms that we can and for our kids, like be there for them as often as we can. But we're also building this other thing. And this is our baby too. We've got two babies that we're kind of nurturing and wanting to keep giving as much as we can too. So, okay, two more questions. If a woman is listening to this from a small town, not near Wisconsin, and she carries one thing from this conversation into her week next week, what do you hope that that is?
I hope that women listening just get the confidence to go find a social club or go find an online networking, community near you. Go search in the search bar on Instagram or TikTok and just find something local to you where you can get in the room with women doing cool things like you. And, um, you don't have to create it by any means, but you certainly could if it doesn't exist by you. But I guarantee there's something that you could get involved in. I've even been talking lately about potentially joining like my local Toastmasters. Have you ever done that? But like it's like a public speaking group and we have a small one in our little town. And I'm like, oh, that wouldn't hurt to like, sharpen up those skills. I might do that. And I just think the more visibility you can have off of social media in real conversations, real situations, you you just feel this sense of like belonging and like people can see you for you. And when you're alone and you're at home and you're building a business behind a screen, it can be very lonely. And I just think there's so much power in finding the right room for you. I've certainly been in rooms where I'm like, this just doesn't like feel aligned with me. And you know, a lot of talk about things that I'm like fake it till you make it, or,
Right.
on the outside, it's comes off like this, but then when you get behind the scenes on calls, it's like, what? Like,
Hmm.
what? And, there's just rooms where you might be like, this isn't a good fit, but there is a room out there for everybody, and you can find that.
I love that. There's a room out there for everybody. If that's, yeah, one thing that you can take away, go find your room. It doesn't need to be big.
Mhm.
And there probably is one in your community. You just have to find it. And if there's not, then start it, just like Teresa did.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Teresa. Well, let's have you tell people where they can find you and anything else that you might want our audience to know about you.
Awesome. I'm on Instagram at Theresa with an H, Theresa dot Schrader. Also made here, Wisconsin. We have an Instagram page as well. That's been tricky trying to do both of those, but it's fun.
You're doing great.
Um, I'm like, I'm gonna treat this like a magazine, and so people just, like, know it exists, but not put too much pressure on it. Yeah, so primarily on Instagram, yeah, and Made Here is housed on School, the School platform, which I've been really liking. So if you're thinking about starting an online community, I would recommend.
Perfect. Well, for everybody listening today, two things. Obviously, go follow Theresa. She's incredible. She's really fun to watch. She's building an awesome community. If you're from Wisconsin, obviously, go give her a follow and consider joining the community. We'll put all of these links in the show notes for you so you can go grab them easily. And I want to just say that, again, thank you so much, Theresa. And to our audience, like, go find that room. Like, you belong somewhere in your community. Get off of social, go make actual, like, real life connections, because those mean so much more than a like or a share on Instagram. Those are great, but in person connections are the best connections that we can make, especially nowadays. So thank you so much, Theresa, for inspiring us, for building this community for your small town. And I can't tell you how excited we are to just kind of watch you grow in this space.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's time for a refill. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Duo on Air.
If you loved hanging out with us today, here are 3 quick ways to support the show. 1, subscribe so you never miss a new episode.
2, share this episode with a biz bestie and tag us on Instagram at duo.collective.
And 3, leave a review because we love hearing from you.
Finally, keep sharing your episode ideas. We love creating content for you. Head over to duocollective.com to catch up on all the latest episodes, brand and website makeovers, SEO tips, and so much more.
See you there. Let's duo this thing called business together.